Welcome to the latest episode of The Chris White Show, a podcast dedicated to helping small to medium-sized business owners and anyone looking to make the entrepreneurial leap. A little about me, your host, Chris White. I'm an entrepreneur based in Brooklyn, New York. I currently own two companies, a boutique digital agency called Sneakers and a staffing and recruiting firm, Rad Hires. Our featured guest this week is none other than Chris Branin, a real estate salesperson from South Jersey, a great friend of mine. We went to high school together, played football, just an amazing dude. He heads up the Branin real estate team at Remax Affiliates. The Branin team is comprised of local realtors who are dedicated to serving their clients with the highest level of customer service and providing favorable end results. They specialize in residential, investment, and development real estate throughout central and southern Jersey, the Jersey Shore, and the greater Philadelphia area. Their home concierge service is an important cornerstone of their business, and this feature is offered to their clients to assist in preparing their home for sale with no upfront cost. You can find out more about Chris at braninrealtor@gmail.com or braninteam.com. What's going on, Chris? Great to have you on the show, brother.
Hey, thanks for having me, Chris. Always, good to hear your voice. Loving the show so far.
Thanks, man. Thanks. I appreciate it. I don't know. I love talking to people about business, and I used to have a radio show in college. A lot of people don't know that about me, but I really loved this sort of audio radio style format. And, I started listening to podcasts over the last year. I was like, I want a podcast. Why not? And I know a lot of business owners, and I felt like, I don't know, I just felt like there was something I could contribute to the business community, and or anybody who, wants to start a business. So I was really excited to have you on the show. I see you're crushing it with real estate down in South Jersey, even in these crazy times for real estate. Still looks like you're crushing it. So you're doing something right, brother. But I wanted to jump in. I like to segment my show and start off by asking everybody on the show, what's your favorite success quote? Why is it your favorite? And how do you apply it to your everyday life?
Chris, I have to go with think outside the box.
I love
I
that.
did some research. It's been around since 1954, and there's different sayings who created it because there's a lot of different versions of it. But what it means to me, I never really looked up what it meant. It's just how I go about my everyday life. And ever since I've ever really known how it works for me is real estate and life in general is tricky. There's always obstacles that come apart, and there's always things that come. And if we stay, like tunnel visions, you're probably not going to produce a lot of sales because there's always a curveball. So we have to think outside the box. And by doing that, you create this mountain of contacts because you become so adept to just jumping to different things. So as these situations come about in real estate or life, you're like, all right, your mind's already going to what the solution is. As a business owner who works for the public, we are a solution-based business. People don't want to hear the problem. They want what they want. So it's our job to figure it out. And it's kind of like having children, right? Be a good father. Whoa. So how do we do that? And to me, it's just been think outside the box. And I have plenty of examples.
No, I love. I'm more on the digital side of things, but it's amazing how, like, especially with B2B or B2C, it really is just about the customer. The customer does not care about your business problems. Like, they don't care, they want a solution to their problem. And it is really being an entrepreneur. I think people don't associate with being creative, but that's really what I've learned. Like, you've really got to think quick on your feet. You've got to be creative to come up with new business strategies or deal with, tricky business problems. Every day you're tested on, how can you be creative? And I think people look at selling real estate as like, oh, that must be pretty easy, just kind of show people houses. But, I think there's so much that can go into a real estate transaction that you've got to be immensely creative. And especially if you get in the real estate, investing as well. Like, what's your biggest failure you've had personally in your career? It could be related to anything, or related to selling real estate.
Business wise, so I made a transition. I was in the restaurant nightclub scene for 20 years, was always
Mm,
dealing with the public, loved it, and then I started investing in real estate 10 years ago. And I knew I had a passion for it. And when I made the decide for the first leap, I was like, oh, I'm going to jump in and this is just going to come natural and easy.
mm.
And I couldn't be hardest from the truth. You jump in and you're like, okay, what do I do now? And they teach you certain things in real estate school, but that's great. You have to know the laws. You have to read, know your contracts. But then you start dealing with the public, and where do you get leads from?
Mm,
Where do how do you generate coming from, like, when you're in an industry where you have a schedule set, you go meet it, you're doing vendors and different things. Now all of a sudden you're left to your own devices. Well, how do I
yeah,
create a business?
yeah.
And if it was easy, if the phone was ringing all the time and you were just able to show houses and sell them, that's wonderful. But really, you have to create a business. And in the beginning, that was the struggle.
Mm,
I have a really interesting one. My first client I ever had that was referred to me, we got him under contract, was super excited.
mm.
90 days in the contract, mortgage made a had a fault, and we ended up not closing.
Oh,
And
wow.
but I spent, I learned communication with the client, always updating him daily, talking to him, trying to do anything we could, etc. Make a long story short, I thought at the end of that, man, I lost this client. Well,
Mm,
here our connection stayed strong. He reached out to me a year later. He wants to be an investor. I start showing him around and teaching him about what I know. Um,
mm.
and 2 years later, he calls me and we end up, he buys a duplex. And now he's on my real estate team as a salesperson.
That's cool.
So, like that's a good story that turned from bad to good. So I think what I
Yeah.
learned from it is you have to just, I would say, if you're starting out in a business, get a mentor, get started with
Mm,
somebody who can teach you,
hmm.
maybe join a team, or if you're good, but always believe in yourself and do the work. And if you put your best foot forward, it'll come back to you.
Yeah, that's amazing. How long how long was it from like till when you like got your license to when you got that referral, and then, you know, 3 months into the, after the contract, like how much time passed
So
like
I
before
had
you?
I got my license in March of 2018,
Mm,
and I was given that referral in April.
okay.
So it
Well,
was 3 months after that,
yeah.
So I had the referral. I was working with him right away. He knew the property, 3 properties we looked at. He picked one. It was fantastic. I was like, wow, this is easy. Go out one time and I sell the house. And then the real truth happened. And that was the learning curve.
Oh man, that's that's cold. Oh, you just line them up. This is easy.
Yeah.
uh, what I call it these eureka moments, or business breakthroughs. Did you have a sort of eureka moment while working in your sort of real estate career, business?
Chris, 100%. I'm getting the chills thinking about it because
Oh, wow.
this is what my bread and butter is right now.
Oh, that's cool.
So I mentioned I come from real estate investing, right? Rental properties. So you learn how to fix rental properties, forced to, not by
Yeah.
doing it. And right before I got my license, I did a full flip, bought a shell, and finished it to the end. Learned how to
Mm,
be a GC. So it taught me a lot of skill set. Well, I get into working real estate, and a good buddy of ours actually gives me a call, and he says, "Can you sell this home for me?" And I went to the home, and I took 2 steps in. It was in a great location, and I was in there for maybe 3 minutes, and I was like, "Can I talk to you outside?" I said,
mm,
"Look, do me a favor. You're one of my best friends. I said, I'm going to take care of you the best I can. I suggest we move everything out of the house you want to keep,
mm.
and then give me the keys. And I'm going to make your
Wow.
house look nice. I'm going to
Wow.
get rid of all the trash, and I'm going to fix it up, and I'm going to sell it. Because if you sell it the way it is right now, you're going to get taken advantage of because it doesn't show well. It has great bones, has a great big things,
Yeah.
but you got to put the lipstick on it, right? They say there's a lipstick on the pig is a
Oh my
saying.
God, dude! I always my first boss always used to say, "Put some lipstick on that pig." I say that to this day.
But so we don't look, we do that saying, but we basically fix it. And what ended up happening, look, we fixed the home, we made it beautiful, and we sold it. It was actually under contract. We had a bidding war within the first day. He wanted to sell right away, so we just basically said, worked with two people, took the highest offer.
Yeah.
Um, and then it just kind of snowballed. I came home 2 days later. My neighbor needed something, and I told him about what I could do. And then from that, I created a home concierge business.
Mm.
And it now I average about 4 or 5 of those a year.
Yep.
And off of that home concierge, I also do a post concierge service.
Oh.
So a lot of buyers, like, it's kind of like a TV show, right? They show the house that they want to buy, but they can't afford or they can't find. So
Mm.
we go out and look, but we find the location in the area of the home, and
Wow.
we can say, hey, we can make it look like that afterwards for you and help you facilitate.
Oh wow,
Um,
that's
I,
cool.
I,
So you're doing it on both ends, man, for sellers and buyers. That's cool.
yeah, it's more
That's
for a
cool.
seller-based
Sure.
business,
Sure.
because that's where it's really driven. But
Hmm.
what I've noticed lately, with my past two clients, is we weren't redoing everything. It was more like, okay, I need a contractor who can maybe put in 2 weeks of work to fix some things, and then
Right.
put fresh paint job on it, change
Right.
hot water heater. But the normal, everyday person doesn't have those contacts, especially if they're buying in a new area, where I
Right.
do.
True. True. Wow. That's a great point. Incredible. That's cool, man. Like, what do you do, consistently daily that sets you apart, that makes you successful as a dad, as a real estate agent, what do you feel sets you apart?
Well, I'm still every day with that dad thing, with these youngsters, right? And I'm sure you can relate. And it's always, but they make it fun. I'll go back to my first saying of think outside the box. I start daily with that because I, but with that, I need to have a schedule. I think it's
Mm.
very important to have a schedule. I'm a big believer that I have an ongoing list of always ongoing items in my phone.
Hmm.
And then every night before I go to bed, I categorize them. What is the first contacts I got to make, one through whatever,
Mm.
and I make sure to check, because the more things I can get off that list, the better. I
Okay.
prioritize what's important. But in this business, it doesn't matter how many tasks you have. If your tasks grow, maybe you need help.
Yeah.
But we have to make contact. We have to lead generate. We have to make time to put ourselves out there, make phone calls.
Mm.
Because we want to be successful, we have to have a business model. And for me, it's having a schedule, being consistent to myself, which makes me consistent to my clients and to my
Mm.
family.
Hmm.
Um, so make
Yeah.
lead generation, and then last but not least, you learn from your daily mistakes. As
Mm.
something comes up, okay, maybe we could have done that a different way. And by
Yeah.
generating that daily mindset, it brings us into the next day. And it's just
Hmm.
always forever moving.
Yeah, man. You're bringing up just so much, so many nuggets, man. I am fanatical about my calendar. Like I have it planned I don't really do like 15-minute increments, but like half-hour increments, of, all right, I'm doing this, then I'm doing this. And it's like, oh, I got to set a time to like send invoices, like, whatever it is, it's like in my calendar, and I tell people about that all the time. I'm trying to get better at delegating out some stuff. You ever hear like the Eisenhower matrix?
No, please share.
Yeah, it's like it's a concept of like there's really like four categories of things that you have to do. Things that are important and urgent, So for you, if you have a closing today, that's like important and urgent stuff. Important but not urgent, those are things where like, okay, I got to follow up with this person or I got to do my daily calls for lead gen, right? Then there's not urgent but important, so those might be things that like you could start to delegate. And then there's not important, not urgent, which are like I shouldn't even be doing these things. Why do I even have these on my list? You know? Um, and that's like a framework to use to try and like help organize like your decision making and how you want to go about your week or your day, even your quarter. It's something I constantly have to come back to. I think we all can get easily distracted with stuff, but yeah, look it up. It's a pretty cool like sort of planning concept. It's one of the better ways I've tried to manage my time and or just get stuff off my list that like I shouldn't even be doing, you know. What like, you know, for you, who's like an entrepreneur you admire, or a book you love, and why, you know, something that you could share with our listeners, a little inspiration.
I would say Robert Kawasaki. Uh,
Mm.
he's done many things. He's most notably known for Rich Dad Poor Dad,
Hmm.
but he teaches. My biggest thing is financial literacy.
Yeah.
Okay, um, understanding to me as an entrepreneur why I got into real estate from the beginning is what I can do with my money. Understanding good debt versus bad debt,
Mm.
and these are all things that are not taught in school. You know, they don't teach you how. Everybody think, you know, I'm a believer that you have to know what you're doing and you make sure you're educated on it. But
Hmm.
debt to me is my friend. The more debt I have, if it's managed properly, the better,
Mm.
because I'm
Mm.
able to use that to leverage and move forward. And he's been a great entrepreneur to teach that. And when you take that mindset and then you put it to actual use and say the real estate investment, and dealing with the tenants and learning to fix things,
Mm.
you kind of learn the whole gamut of costs and okay, where do I need to spend my money and why.
Yeah.
And I think we'll probably touch more of that in it. But he's somebody good if you're interested in real estate investing and you want to know a different opinion on financial literacy. I would look him up.
Yeah. There's actually another book he has that I love called Cash Flow Quadrant. You ever
Mhm.
read that?
Parts of it, summary of it, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's an interesting one because he talks about like sort of the concept of, it's kind of again like a matrix, like a you know 2x2, like, you know, sort of matrix. But he talks about the concept that you're either an employee, self-employed, a business owner, entrepreneur, or an investor, you know,
Mhm.
and that like you can move anywhere you want in that quadrant. You know, it might take you certain steps to get there. Like ultimately, if you can get to like sort of the investor stage and live as an investor, like that's, you know, like the ultimate. But it was really sort of eye opening to me, you know, to sort of see how I like sort of went through that journey. And or even early on, like I thought, oh, I'm an entrepreneur, but it's like really I was more like self-employed, you know. Um, but I don't know, I really dig the cash flow quadrant. I would definitely go back. I need to go back, shoot, and reread that one, and probably Rich Dad Poor Dad. um, what you know, being a real estate agent, right? Sounds glamorous, but you know, what's the hardest part about being a real estate agent? And you know, this would especially be for anybody, you know, listening to the show who's thinking about, you know, becoming an agent.
Well, first thing I would say, never give up before the magic happens. Give yourself a chance if you're
Mm.
deciding to get in.
Mm.
And when you start, uh, for me on a daily basis, I would say it's dealing with the uncomfortable or the unknown. You know, we always love perfect transactions, but as I talked about, thinking outside the box is there's daily things that come up that it throws a wrench into your day with a
Mm.
deal.
Okay.
And it could be from your appraisal, your title, your mortgage. Lawyers in New Jersey, they love to really change the language and change a deal, and it can be things. And then the other thing I would say is, sometimes there's odd hours in this business, right? We
Mm.
try to set boundaries, but client wants, especially in a market like this, the client wants to see a house and the client wants to move. If you're not showing that house or having somebody show that house or putting in that offer, uh, they would be best suited to probably work with somebody else who can, because
Yeah.
the market's hot and houses are selling. So sometimes it's the hours or time away from family, but I work together with a good team, and we try to facilitate and help each other out.
Awesome, man. And what are the top, one or two things that you consistently see new real estate agents struggle with? And or thinking back to, your early days even.
Yeah, I mean, I'll go back to the beginning. It's like when you start it, it's like, how do I run a business and where do I find clients?
Mm,
And what I notice from a lot of people who leave the business early, because I think the success rate for a real estate agent, I've been told that I don't know the current numbers, but are not so great because people they come in for different reasons. I think you need to come in. Finding leads is very difficult in the beginning, right?
mm,
You'll always hear everybody talk about your sphere of influence. Give it a chance to let everybody know what it is you do. But it's I would say finding leads, and then right now the biggest fear for people is the uncertainty of the real estate market,
mm.
right? So agents are coming in and they're expecting magic to happen, and it doesn't. And then
Yeah.
a lot of it would be the new tech tools and like learning the contract and the laws and how to deal with a deal, right? It's
Hmm.
different than what they teach you in school.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it is interesting because as an agent, you're actually your own little mini business, your own sort of entrepreneur, right? And I think that a lot of people don't realize that. It's really like you're kind of like an independent little business in and of yourself, and you got to get leads and you got to close deals. It's pretty wild. It's definitely not like a traditional job. Like what, going along that, what's the number one piece of advice you would give to someone who wants to become a real estate agent?
The number one thing I would say would be for me, I'll go back to my quote, is think outside the box. Meaning, you know, if I was starting, I would, you first of all, when you get your real estate license, you interview the broker doesn't interview you.
Mm,
Okay. You want to find a good fit that works for you. If you're somebody who needs a lot of training, find a company that offers the best training. Okay.
mm,
Don't make it necessarily about the money in the beginning. The money will
okay.
come. Okay. But find a mentor that you feel that can teach you. There's a lot of different avenues in real estate. Find out where you believe your niche is and find the right
Mm,
broker.
mm,
Once you do that, I would strongly suggest having a business model like schedule. You have to make a schedule for times that you're going to do tasks.
mm,
Okay. You have to be lead gen. And then the biggest thing is just, you have to let everybody know you're a real estate agent, right? We have to communicate your sphere of influence, people you know your whole life, people that trust you, is do it. Now, if you don't come from that background, well, then you have to be a go getter. Like
mm,
if you move to a new area, well, find out who the mayor is. Go talk to the
mm,
mayor. Go to
mm.
the police station. Talk to the police chief. Go to the fire
Wow.
chief. Talk to the fire chief. Be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
If you're comfortable every day, you might not make it. You have to
Yeah.
be uncomfortable and go do something different, and people will like you. You'll get comfortable talking to people, and then the real estate piece will just follow.
Wow. That's cool, man. What are the top one or two mistakes, people make when selling their home?
Oh, the laugh. They didn't hire me. No, I'm just kidding. Nah, we got to have a little fun while we
Hey,
work.
anybody I know in South Jersey, they're coming to you. Believe me.
It's you know, I see it all the time. There's a there's the 3 Ds in the business.
Mm,
I mean, this is all you can Google and find this stuff. But I call them the 3 Ds: declutter, declean, and depersonalize.
mm,
Okay, we've all heard the line of sweat equity,
mm,
right? So that is all stuff that you can do yourself before anybody comes. Before I even had the real estate agent come to my house, realtor,
mm.
whatever you want to call them, I would do those things. I would say,
Oh,
okay,
wow.
I would if I was selling my home, I would say, okay, well, it's just like you're having people over for a party. How would you want your home to look, right?
Mm. I like that. I like that. That's cool.
Okay, so then the other thing is like if you're visible, I can see a mistake, a problem, a hole, or something that's visible. Well, the buyer's going to see that, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And sometimes these things don't cost a lot of money. Sometimes they do. But that's where you can get a professional opinion, and that's hence why our home concierge service has taken off, because we can do things as small as, we've done ones of $3,000, $5,000, and I just did one where it was $160,000 of work done, and that was all discussed ahead of time. But the point is have your home declutter, deep clean, depersonalize, and fix visual repairs and anything you think that might come up in a home inspection.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I love that party concept. Like my wife's like, we're always before somebody comes over, it's like, oh, throw this in the closet, like, but I want to dig a little deeper into that concierge service. I love this. How does that work? And again, for a home seller, and sounds like you're maybe even doing stuff like post purchase for buyers. But how's it a benefit to a home seller? Like, what does it really get them?
The home seller is the key, right? So I'll show up to your house, right? Any listing agent should do this. They should come through your home and they should look at your home. You're there to give an evaluation of the home. Okay, I never give an evaluation on the spot. I look at it. I go home. I do my homework. Okay, I then present them with what I feel their home is worth. But also while I'm there, I'm looking at X, Y, Z and saying, how can I invest the right money to make the most net for the seller? Okay, it is all about the seller. So our concierge service is very simple. We show up. I come through your door. I'm a realtor here to sell your home. Okay. Some people just need the guidance, right? I had this great client, right? He is a hands-on person who loves to do everything. He just said, Chris, show me what you want. Show me what to do that's going to help me make the most money. I'll do everything and come see me in a couple months when we're ready to sell. Perfect. Love it. We went through in detail, took pictures, sent him everything, made a list, made a sheet for him, advised him what to do. I came back. The house looked better than we even talked about, right? Because he really got into it. And guess what? They sold their home for a very, very nice price. That one doesn't happen too often, right? Usually it's I show up and I come in and everybody's life's busy.
Yeah.
Right? So what we do is we come in, we say, your house is worth X. Right.
As is. You mean like X
as it is in current state. Even if you declutter, deep clean, depersonalize, that's not putting paint on the walls. That's just you doing, what you should be doing. Right.
Yeah.
We say this is what your value's worth. Then I come through and I say, okay, if we fix these couple holes in the wall, we put some light fixtures that are more modern. Maybe we put some new flooring in, throw fresh paint on it. Maybe we paint the kitchen cabinets. Different things that we can do to make your home more move-in ready. We live in a day and age where people want move-in ready homes.
Amen.
They want to drop their bags and go.
Amen.
So where that works for the seller is we can do anything, right? A lot of people, you show up, they say, well, I have a contractor we like. Fantastic. I set up a time, I interview the contractor with them. We make a plan together. I tell them I feel what my opinion is on the contractor, and we work together as a team to facilitate the deal. A lot of times, most times than not, the seller does not have any contacts for a contractor, and I have every trade you can imagine in my Rolodex that I can call, and I generally facilitate one main guy who works with me daily. And then we break off into subcontractors that we need, depending on the size of the job.
Wow.
And then the last thing is always like, well, where's the money come from? Right? Some people have their own money. Fantastic. And for those who don't have their own money, we started a side business. Okay. My wife is the owner of the company called Finish Line Concierge, and they are strictly there to fund the project. And we can fund up to $250,000 for a renovation project.
Wow. That's cool. Man, that's awesome.
If you call me and the numbers are there, they do it. Now, how does the seller make, right? You heard all the this, that, and the other thing. Give me the goods, Chris. Give me the goods. Well,
Yeah.
right. A lot of great examples, but for instance, this huge one. I'll give you two small, a big and a small. We just finished the largest renovation we've ever done for somebody. When I went there, we agreed on the price. Sell it as is 400,000.
Mm.
We went in. The cost that he was responsible for, including everything from the concierge portion, is coming out to 152. And we're under contract, and we close, God willing, in 10 days for 595. So
Nice.
after all the proceeds and everything, he's going to walk with an extra 42 grand.
Nice.
And you know it, and how much work he put in?
Zero. Just
Zero, because he
yeah.
just turned it over. And
Yeah.
we stayed in touch as much as the client wants. Some people want daily updates. Some people are
Mm.
just like, call me when it's time.
Yeah.
And that one, we predicted, we told him 10 to 12 weeks. It took us 13. But we were pretty happy with that.
Yeah, man. That's
And then
cool.
but that's a huge one, right? That's not the norm. The norm
Mhm.
is we show up to your house and we're in and out in probably a week to two.
Okay.
Renovations maybe 5 to 25, depending on what it needs to be done.
More cosmetic kind of
More
stuff.
cosmetic, right? But here's the thing that what we've averaging about an extra 30 grand plus for the seller on each transaction.
Cool.
Okay, the number's actually a little higher, but we'll just go with 30. And every home generally sells in the first week because it's ready to go.
Yeah.
And that's really the key, because I don't really know any business that I could say, see, here's the thing, right? When you have this thing, how many homes do you get to sell in your life? Most people, it's a few. So you have this, if somebody told you have an opportunity to spend a couple weeks and make an extra 30 grand, why wouldn't you do it?
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
I don't know anywhere I can invest my money that's almost risk-free.
Yeah.
Make that money.
Yeah, dude, that's genius. Yeah, I mean, I love it. I love it. Let's wrap things up by talking a bit about real estate investing. You have some real estate investments yourself, and you work with real estate investors. What are some things that go into being a successful real estate investor?
Well, first it goes back to the old location, right? Location, you have to understand what it is that you're buying in the area, right? Once you do that, then you got to evaluate the way your numbers work. So what I've learned over time is this, and what I advise all my clients is, first off, have everything in order that you want to do. If you're going to buy it as under your own name or an LLC, that's probably a full discussion in itself. The next thing would be know your numbers, understand where you are. If you're going to buy, how much money you have to rehab. If you're borrowing money, well, what is that going to look like? And let's work together to find out what works. And then once you own the property, before you put somebody in it, I'm a firm believer you should only rent to a place that you feel that you would live in. Okay, it doesn't have to be brand new, but it should be clean. It should be in working order. Okay, you would be willing to have your mom over for dinner. Okay. And a lot of that is dealing with hard surfaces, right? When I say hard surfaces, use proper flooring. If you're putting in a countertop, I highly recommend spending the money on quartz. Okay, you can get quartz pretty cheap nowadays. These things will last a long time. Okay, and you will not have to go back every year and fix them. If you go cheap, you will have to fix them. And what happens is it slows up your cash flow because every month that there's not somebody in that unit, you're losing money and you're putting money out to repair it. So fix it right the first time. And then the last thing is this, and I feel there's two pieces to this. When you're renting your property out, your tenant is going to make or break your livelihood. Okay? And we have a screening process, right? We put him through. Great, you should meet that. But then it's also, what does your gut tell you about this person? And feel them out. We're not, I'm a very fair person. But my relationship with my tenants, by being what I feel is a great landlord, are positive. You could interview any single one of them, and they would probably tell you, I'm a good guy and I stand by my word. I'm very
Mm-hmm.
fair.
Mm-hmm.
We make all the upfront decisions together, right? I
Mm.
tell them what it is that they're having. I ask them if they have any questions. We go through every form of the lease, and I let them say, please call me and tell me if there's a problem, or please call this person if there's a problem, so
Mm.
that we can get in there and fix it. And by having that rapport, um, we never want to leave a vacant property. And in my 10 years of investing, I've only had one property that I had a bad tenant. I finally had my first one.
Mm.
And usually I'm able to turn them over and not lose a month's rent. I've only lost, beside that one tenant, maybe 1 month of rent in my 10-year career.
Wow. Wow. Drops mic. But oh man, like so many gems here, brother. I can't thank you enough for being on the show. I know anybody who wants to get into real estate is going to get just so much value out of this. So again, I can't thank you enough. If you want to reach out to Chris, if you're in Jersey and or just want to get into real estate, or you need to refer people to a great real estate agent in Jersey, you can reach out to Chris. It's braninteam.com, BRANINTEAM.com. So please do feel free to reach out to Chris and his team. We'll have all this contact info in the notes with the episode once we publish this. And again, man, I hope you had a great time on the show, buddy.
Chris, man, it was awesome. It was always great to see that smiling face, and you're a natural at this. Your shows, when are we gonna see you on TV? All right.
We're trying to get there, brother. Hopefully that'll happen.
Sky's
But
the limit with
yeah,
you.
can't thank you enough again, brother. Thanks so much for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me, Chris.
You got it.